this is why we have the podcast, just talking about stuff when it comes out.
Yeah, it was, so like, we're hardware people for sure. Yeah. WWDC is a software conference, and yet they still managed to like have a bunch of really fun things that like the average person or not software people can be really excited for. I mean, like, I went into this thinking we're going to see small updates and stuff like that on iOS, iPadOS, macOS, but like there were some things that I was genuinely excited for, and I don't even use like an iPhone.
Yeah,
and I thought they were cool.
They save it all for one big, announcement. There's a lot of stuff piled up in here.
Yeah.
And a new OS version. So
it's mostly like quality of life changes, but like really cool, really interesting ways to do those quality of life changes. And I think there's a bunch of good ones, and I kind of have them written down, but I think we all have to first talk about how much of a gem Craig Federighi was throughout this entire event.
They've really, so they've leaned into this. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. So when we first started getting those Apple produced events that we all watched the live stream of them together, one thing that always stood out was epic transitions.
Yeah.
And I think we all caught on to that theme very quickly. When we go from iOS to watchOS, we need to go from the part of campus where the iOS guy is to the part of campus where the watchOS guy is. We will have an epic 12-second transition, some drone shot with CGI, blah, blah, special effects.
Yeah.
Loved that. I think they've kind of run out of good transitions.
Well, yeah, and also, as you say it, like the drone shot between, Apple Park and like Steve Jobs Theater is obvious, right? There's a direct path between it. But when they have to start going like underground, who knows if it's actually underground, but then like in this one, Craig Federighi is on this like floating platform going underneath Steve Jobs Theater.
Just
to the,
for
like, so that's where they've started putting these transitions in. And
I think they leaned in fully to just like, okay, you guys have all caught on that we do extreme transitions. This one is just going to be Craig doing extreme transitions.
Yeah, I think they saw how he got memed with the remember him opening up the laptop?
Oh, they planned that.
And now they're just full blown going into the meme, but they're like, actually, what was it? They had slow-mo running and like him putting his hand through his hair.
It was kind of charming at first when they like accidentally made memes, but now you can see them trying to make meme moments.
I'm still here for it.
I'm less charmed by it, but I get it.
You got Craig in a rainbow tracksuit,
which to some people is the greatest thing on earth.
It was
but
amazing.
To me, it's like any other executive could have put the tracksuit on.
But
it was
it's
like
Craig.
It was kind of neat. All right, well, we like Craig, so I guess it's fine.
We stand Craig.
Good work, Craig. The slow-mo running, it's a thing.
It was awesome. I loved every second of it.
Yeah. So let's start with iOS. There's probably the most new stuff in iOS 16. I'm going to get my hands on the betas. We're going to be trying this stuff out and playing with it for the videos. By the way, this is the podcast where we're going to probably ramble and get into the weeds on stuff. If you want the concise, breakdown of all the new stuff and what I think of it, we've done that video. It's live. It's less than 20 minutes long, which I'm really proud of. So all of the WWDC stuff is in that video. But let's get into the weeds on iOS 16. I just want to start with just a word to think about this entire time.
Okay.
Personalization. Has iOS caught up to Android in personalization?
It's a deep question.
Don't answer it yet. Don't answer it yet.
Okay.
Just keep it in the back of your head as we go through this stuff, right? So I think the biggest change is probably the lock screen, right?
I honestly think lock screen may have been my favorite announcement of the entire event.
iOS lock screen. I think that's fair. It's probably the thing that as an iPhone user, you will see the most. It is the most in your life of any iPhone feature, technically.
It is. It's just like, it's so simple. It should be something they've done a long time ago, but they did it really, really well, and they did it pretty uniquely. There's just like a couple little things to it that just make it feel super iOS, super clean. And what I like the most, like we saw widgets on the home screen. We saw different font and font colors, which is nice, whatever. They just did this really nice small thing where if you have kind of like a portrait photo as your background, you can cut it and it'll like overlay it above the time.
The clock. Apparently it's any photo.
Yeah, it has to have enough of, I want to say portrait, I mean, enough of a cutout that doesn't fully cover the clock,
It'll
but
work
kind
best.
of does.
Yeah.
And that layering looks so good, and I don't believe any Androids do that.
Yeah, that's a small nice touch. There's a pretty big variety of lock screens in the Android world. I think it's Xiaomi. Every time I get a new Xiaomi phone, I'll unlock it and there's one wallpaper and I'll put it to sleep and I'll open it up again and it's another wallpaper and it just refreshes with a new wallpaper every time I unlock the phone. Like they all have different behaviors and things you expect. We all remember the infamous, well, I guess famous slide to unlock from the older iPhones. Now we have a lot of like camera shortcuts and Google Assistant shortcuts from the Pixel. This, I think, is one of the nicer lock screens on any phone now, which is you get the customization, you get the nice little clock feature, which might be behind the subject of your background, which is cool. And there are live, I guess you can have a live wallpaper basically happening, whether it's the new globe one or there is a new weather one, which is cool. So you just open the phone and you see what the weather is on your lock screen. But yeah, like it's the lock screen is the thing you see the most on your phone. It's the lock screen and the home screen and the camera probably.
Yeah, I think it might be the cleanest lock screen out of any phone right now. And it's so weird how just that little tiny change of like how it layers things together and makes things interact better. Like Material U was all about colors, coming together and matching. This is now like the widgets and stuff, or the clock is like part of your photo, and it makes all of it just so seamless. I mean, I'm like gawking over just the fact that it's taking basically portrait mode and putting the clock like a little tiny bit behind it, but it's really nice. And they did add more widgets. They changed notifications a bit, and they now roll up on the bottom, and you can like swipe them away. They did some live stuff with like I thought one of the cool things was like your Uber, how close your Uber is, or maybe your Uber Eats has a live tracker right on your home screen, stuff like that. So seeing that customization feels really big and feels like it's overdue, but I'm glad to see it.
Yeah, this is one of those things. Every time I see this, I always compare it to Google I/O, and like when we get new Android features versus iOS features, live updating notifications is one of those things that it's been on Android for a while, but Apple is now doing it in this way where they're so beautifully like created. They look amazing. They're hopefully well supported by app developers. And so you now hope to see Android again take the leap up. But I think, moving notifications to the bottom, small decision, really, really good idea. Really good idea.
And Apple and like iOS has notoriously been terrible at notification management. So again, all these things are really good. This is the most typical Apple thing ever, I think, in this lock screen is super late to the party, but when they get to the party, they're showing up in style, and they're doing everything really, really, really well.
You want to hear something that's super late to the party?
Sure.
They just now in iOS 16 added haptic feedback for the keyboard. They've, in all the years of the iPhone, in the last decade of iOS,
it's only been the noise.
It's just been sound.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, and this is the first time they've actually enabled haptic, and it's really nice, apparently. There's a lot of people on Twitter loving it, raving about it. So again, it's like, this has been a feature. I actually tweeted, this is one of the fastest ways for me to know if a phone has a good vibration motor or not, because one of the first things you do when you get a phone is like sign into stuff and like put in the Wi-Fi password, and you start typing, and you either feel like, or just like a nice crisp notification.
Do you leave it on?
So if it's bad, I turn it off, and if it's good, I leave it on.
You leave it on, really?
Yeah, it's on. It's on my phone.
You don't leave sounds on, right?
No, my phone's almost always muted.
I can't believe there's still people out there that keep the sound on for typing.
Yeah.
That's got to be. I want to like break people's phones when they do that.
If I'm ever out and I just hear, I immediately just go, "Why is this person's not?
Yeah,
why are they not muted?"
I hope there's not too many people listening out there that we just offended, but.
Mute your phone, please.
Yes, mute it.
Okay, so there's some new messages features that are cool. I'll go through some of these quick. You can now edit iMessages between someone else who has iOS 16 or later. You will see the edit happen. And you can only edit that iMessage within 15 minutes of sending it, which is something to note. You don't get to just change all of your conversations forever. 15-minute edit window. And it also say that it's been edited. There's a little edited tag, which is good. And you can also undo send. If you ever just hit a message you just completely regret sending, you don't even want to edit it, just want to take it back, you can do that too. And you can also mark a thread as unread in messages. Overall, I think a pretty solid update. A lot of people are going to like. Not a real difference maker for me. I just think it's funny that we got editing iMessage before we got editing tweets.
Yeah, so there are two things on this that immediately crossed my mind. So this was one of the things that I heard like quite a few people like ooh and awe at when it happened. And like a lot of jokes of like, oh, glad I'm not gonna like, I can undo that message I didn't mean to send to the person that when I was intoxicated, I shouldn't have. It feels weird. Like undo send is if you're lucky enough to send it to somebody when they're not looking at their phone, I guess you can stop that from happening. Cool. There's still a really good chance when you send that, they're going to see it.
Yeah.
That feels kind of weird. 15 minutes seems kind of short for editing messages, especially if it shows.
Kind of short, you think?
I think so.
I thought that was actually kind of long. I expected like a 2-minute edit window or a 5-minute edit window. 15 is like, I sent the message, I put my phone away, I went and did something, I came back, I opened it, and I realized I spelled something wrong, and then I go change it.
I could see 15 being like that. I send something 5 minutes later, notice they don't respond, and being like, huh, that's weird. And then seeing what I actually sent makes absolutely no sense. And then I can edit it. Maybe that's why they didn't respond. I don't know. It's just editing messages. Like, especially if it shows you that they edited it, give it an hour. But I see all of this as really, it kind of feels like more things that iMessage can do that regular text messaging can't do.
That's true.
And a bigger gap now between, RCS started bringing in a couple little iMessage-esque things that can interact. This made that further away now.
For sure.
Locked
and
you in. Yeah.
That's on purpose.
That's for sure on purpose and feels weirdly timed with RCS stuff building up right now.
It also makes me wonder if I send a message to someone who has an Android phone and then edit it from my phone, what happens to does it send another message with the updated text? What happens to the Android phone? I don't even know.
I bet it doesn't even give you the option. Do you think you just
probably,
can't?
yeah.
I'm assuming edit is hold
bubble.
it and you can't hold green bubbles or whatever.
That's probably what happens.
That'd be my guess.
Hey, thanks for watching that clip from our little WWDC recap. Fun fact, WWDC actually stands for what would doc click? As in, if your doctor was watching this video, what button would he click? And the answer is the subscribe button.
I think it'd be the X button and tell you to go outside.
Well,
Or the like button.
yes, it would be the like button
it's
for
the like
sure.
button.
He liked the video. Just
He does. Doctor approved.
WWDC.
Waveform doctor approved.
WWDC.